Hello, my yarn smithing lovelies, and welcome once again to my studio. If you haven't seen me before, I'm Simon Henry, and we talk all things yarn craft. If you have seen me before, welcome back. It's lovely to have you along. So today we're going to have a look at some more questions that you've sent in. Thank you so much. There was an awful lot of them, and over the next few weeks I'm going to go through as many of them for you as I possibly can. So stay tuned. So the first question was from one of our regular contributors, Anne. It's nice to have you with us again. And she was asking, well, the original question was asking about, she'd found some yarn in a colour that she really loved, but because it was on the dark side, she was having difficulty. I don't mean the dark side as in the dark side. I mean the dark side as in it was dark in colour. And she was having difficulty working with it. I think she was crocheting it, I think she said. I do struggle sometimes when I'm working with dark colours, especially if it's something I've got to get done and I'm working on it for long periods of time. So the advice would be don't try and do anything to change the colour. If you found something you really love, then stick with that. A few little things I do is one, at night especially, I use one of these things, which is like a light to put round your neck, and it's very bright actually, and it lights up whatever I'm working on really well, and I do find that quite useful. Another trick that I use, whether you're knitting or crocheting, let me just see if I can get all this untangled, is if you use a needle that's coloured and use one that's a very different colour from whatever you're working on, this will also let you see the stitches a little bit more clearly that you're working into, especially if you're using a fancy yarn, something with a bit of fluff or something in. I do find that sometimes again at night a little bit more difficult to work with. This is something that I'm working on at the moment. I'll be bringing this to you very soon. Please remember that all of the patterns that I work on that are for sale, not obviously for when I'm working on them for yarn companies, but the patterns I work on for myself are available over on my Patreon site, and paid members of Patreon do get all of those for free. There's quite a few building up over there now, so thank you to everybody that's over there that have subscribed as paid members. Thank you also to the ones that are free members. And why haven't you paid? That's what I want to know. It's actually very reasonable. So that was that. I'm going to put a picture up here of something that I did a little while ago. And this was doing an Aran pattern on black. What on earth was I thinking? Because it took such a long time, and two, it really did strain my eyes. So Anne, I understand exactly what you're talking about, but stick with it. It will get done. So what was the next question? Let me have a little look. Okay, something more personal. Where did I meet my husband? I said I'll answer any question that comes in. To keep them coming, I'll answer within reason pretty much everything. that's a fairly long story. Keith, my husband, is a very talented artist. He's a sculptor. And after I'd had one of my books, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Here we are. One of my books that had been out for a little while, a new publisher's bought it to do the translation edition. So this was it. That was when it was translated into French, which I think was mostly for the French and the Canadian market. Let me know if you've got it and what do you think. It's quite old now, actually. And I received a fairly nice payment for that, and I didn't want it just to go on yarn, which actually most money that comes in goes on yarn. So what I decided to do was buy a nice piece of art, and wherever I can, when I'm spending money, I like to keep it reasonably local to support local business, local artisans. And so I was flicking through the internet and stumbled across this artist that I really liked and bought a piece of his work. And he sent me a message and said, thank you very much for the support. And as I was reasonably local, rather than post it, he would hand deliver it. So a few days later, this gorgeous man walked into the shop. For people that don't know, I own a hair and beauty salon in the city centre as well. And the client that should have been there at that time with me had just cancelled. So it meant I'd got an hour to sit and chat about his work. And the rest is history. I married him a few years later. So you can see that floaty thing again going round. I'm certain, honestly, I'm certain we haunted. It only shows up when we're on here. Anyway, so the rest, as they say, is history. What a lucky purchase that was. So what's next on the list? Let me scroll down and see. Yeah. On a few videos ago, I was showing you, because I often show what I'm working on at the time. This is, I think, I don't know if it was number 2 in the series of makes for this jumper. What often happens, I'll design something, I work out the mathematics first. I do a tension swatch, work out the mathematics, start to knit it. Sometimes I get half, 3/4 of the way through and I think, no, that's not what I'm looking for. That's what happened to this. So this probably won't go any further. There will be a pattern because I'm actually on the next iteration of this. So that will be out soon. And somebody asked me, I'm assuming this is what you mean. Somebody said, what was the blue stuff on the jumper that you were knitting? So if I want to put stitches on hold, and there's quite a lot going on, sometimes a stitch holder, which I haven't got one here, comes undone. When I want to hold stitches in a circle, for example, for a sleeve on a top down, a stitch holder isn't quite right. So I use, I will find some in a minute, this, which is silicone tubing, it's called. Buy it as, if you go on to somewhere like Amazon, have a look for 2mm silicone tubing. Some people use this in jewellery making for bracelets and all kinds of things. If you buy the one that's specifically intended to hold stitches, then I think that's quite a lot more expensive because it's being sold for a specific use. So just look for 2mm silicone tubing, and it's very flexible. So what you actually do, I ought to have put my glasses on, is you push that onto the end of your needle. It's actually very secure then. And just slide all your stitches off onto there, tie it in a knot, and it holds it. It's really, really useful. You can see I'm actually trying to get that off now, so it's not going to go anywhere when you've slid it onto the needle. The first time I used it, I was doing it really gently because I thought, well, the end's going to come off and I'm going to lose all of those stitches. So that's one thing. I use this quite a lot, actually, for lots and lots of different things. Anywhere where you want to put stitches on hold, this is really useful. It's very cheap if you buy it that way, so you can cut little bits off and just hold small amounts of stitches. I also saw, and those I haven't got either, there was these little kind of metal, they look like very tiny cable needles, if you can understand what I mean. It was a metal thing with little points on both ends, and what you could do if you were only holding a few stitches is put one in both ends, which you can see me, I'm looking around frantically trying to find one. No idea where it is. Anyway, one day in the future I shall probably show you a little bit of that. And no, can't see one. Never mind, you get the idea. You get the idea. So what was the next one? Let me have a look. What other crafts do you do? Anything involving yarn, really, and thread. One of my day jobs was working in couture surface embellishment. I've been very lucky in my career to work for some incredible designers at the top end of the business in their ateliers. I've learnt massive amounts, and I'll put a couple of pictures up here of things that I've done that I'm allowed to show you. What else do I do? I knit, crochet, couture, sew. You see from the books, design, pattern maker. That's more business than pleasure. Tat, needle lace, bobbin lace, needle tatting. That's a very old one. What else do I do? Oh, tuft. You can see on the opening titles, there's one of my tufting pieces there. They sell in galleries. What else do I do? Pretty much anything involving yarn, and you can see the amount of yarn I've got to get through, so I keep finding things to do. I'm gonna, you can see there's actually quite a lot arrived since the last video, so I'm going to be doing a couple more review videos. One of the questions that came in was they'd seen that I'd done a review on cashmere yarn from Temu, and they wanted to know which was the best cashmere in inverted commas, yarn to buy from Temu, because it's very cheap over there. And so I decided what I'd do, I'm going to research that. I'm going to go back on to Temu and have a look at all their different types of cashmere yarn. I'm going to order some of the ones that appear to be kind of at the best end and do another review video that will be coming up fairly soon. So I think I've covered everything today. I can't think of anything I've missed. So keep the questions coming in. I do like them. I'll answer pretty much within reason anything. I don't mind at all. And if you've liked what you've seen, and if you've liked some of the other videos, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. It's completely free. If you have a look on the figures, there's hundreds of thousands of views across all of these videos, and only, what is it, getting on for 2,500 subscribers or something, I don't know. So why have you watched it and not subscribed? Push the button. That's all you've got to do. Do me a favour. And if you want to go over and have a look on Patreon and have a look at the channel over there, you can join for free. But if you want access to the patterns, it's a paid membership, because I've got to pay for all this yarn somehow. It's a paid membership at £5 a month. Some countries do charge a little bit of tax on top of that. Some countries don't. So once again, it's been lovely to have you along. Happy yarn smithing. Love as always. And I'm going to see you really soon. Bye-bye.